The important thing about solving speed problems, real world speed problems, is that you have some sort of plan for how you're going to attack it. So first I'm going to read the question. It says that Anthony drives his boat at a speed of 70 miles per hour, and they want to do it for 5 hours. So I can think of this a couple different ways. I can think of this as he goes 70 miles in 1 hour, and I need to repeat this 5 more times. This will be represented by 5 hours, and this will be represented by 70 times 5, which is obviously 350. You can also think of it fractionally, or setting up a unit rate of saying if it's 70 miles over the course of 1 hour, then what's the relationship to get it to 5 hours? So I could tell that this is just a times 5, and if I do the same thing here times 5, it gives me 350 as well. So it's 350 miles over the course of that 5 hours. If you look at this one, you can pause it, try it, and then we'll go over the answer. If the car travels 35 miles in a single hour, how far will it go in 4 hours? If I just do times 4 and times 4, I know that this will give me 140 miles over the course of 4 hours. For a type of problem like this, the only difference is that they didn't give you the unit rate of the hours. You actually have to make a different transition here. So I'm going to start off by them saying it's 500 miles for a single hour. So I'm supposed to find out how long it's going to take for 3,000 miles. This isn't as easy as dealing with the 1 because that's really easy multiplication. What I have to find out here is what's the relationship between 500 and 3,000? And I can use my calculator to figure out 500 times something is 3,000. If I work backwards and just do 3,000 divided by that 500, I would find out that it's a relationship of times 6. So if I do the same here, 1 hour times 6, it tells me that 6 hours is what it takes for 3,000 miles. Take a minute and try this one. You can set up the problem, pause it here, and then we'll go over the answer. So, the vehicle travels 45 miles over the course of a single hour. And they want to know, well, how many hours does it take to go 270 miles? I need to find the relationship between these two. If I use my calculator, I don't know what 45 times something is 270. But if I think of 270 divided by 45, it ends up being times 6. And then if I just do the same thing here, times 6, it's 6 hours to go that 270 miles. This situation is where there's multiple speeds over the course of a longer trip. So they say that the distance between town A and town B, it's a distance of 450 miles. And then the distance between town B and town C is 360 miles. And then they give us more information. They say that it took them 9 hours to go this distance. And then it took them 6 hours to go this distance. So obviously their speed's changing. What they want to know is what's the average speed for the whole journey? Well, if I know the total distance, which is shown here, and I know the total time, which is shown here, I can set it up like I would any other problem. I could say that the total distance is, if I add these together, it gives me 810 miles total, and the total time spent ends up being 15 hours. If I find what they have in common, if I can divide the top and bottom by 15, what I'll find is that it's going 54 miles over the course of a single hour. This one's similar. You can pause the video, set something up, try to solve it. They tell us that the distance between towns X and Y is a total distance of 280 miles, and then they tell us that the distance between y and z is 530 total miles, and they tell me it takes 6 hours for this and 12 hours for this. If I can find the total distance here and the total time here, I'll be able to find the average speed. The total distance is 810 miles, and the total time spent traveling that distance is 18 hours. If I try to get it down to 1 hour and divide this by 18 and divide this by 18, I'll find out that it's an average speed of 45 miles per hour.